We are back here in studio at the Cogeco Studios on Goodfella for answering the call. I'm here in the studio with Police Chief Murray Rod from the Peterborough Police Service. Murray, this has been a difficult week. This is the week in which the terrorist attacks in Paris took place, and unfortunately, they've caused an incident here, or appear to have caused an incident here in Peterborough with the setting of a fire at the Mosque on Park Hill Road. Just quickly, if you can, bring us up to date on what you can say about the investigation at this point.
We continue to have information flowing in on the Crime Stoppers tip lines, and we have information from the intelligence community that we're working with. We're working with the provincial anti-terrorist squad, as well as there's a federal interest obviously in all these kinds of activities, so we're working in cooperation, sharing information as we learn what's happening in Peterborough, and trying to piece this together. We're still encouraging any citizen who may have seen any suspicious activity in or around the area of the synagogue, be it a vehicle, person on a bike, or a person carrying anything, a backpack or anything in that area that evening, to give us a call. All information is welcome, and we'll certainly attempt to chase it down and hear what people have to say.
During the press conferences and speaking with the media this week, your investigators have characterized this as a hate crime. Is that correct?
Well, this is a targeted community, a faith center, and so on that basis alone, it would qualify. We won't know until we actually have the motive, but it's clear, in the context of the world events and what's taken place in Paris, that the Muslim community was targeted, and the synagogue specifically targeted, is certainly fits the category of a hate crime.
And if it turns out to be a hate crime, that adds a whole another level of specific charges, is that correct?
Actually, hate crimes, unless it's fostering hate, and that's a crime of itself. But the hate crime is whatever the crime is. The aggravating factor for sentencing is what makes it a hate crime. So if the motive for an arson, which is the offense is arson, is the offense, and it becomes a hate crime, and in terms of the motive, if he did it for that reason, or he or she did that for that reason, to inflict a message or fear into the minds or hearts of a community specifically. It's an aggravating factor. It's only it's a language and a framework for sentencing.
This is certainly an incident that shocked a great many people in this community. The vast majority of people would find it abhorrent that anybody would consider this kind of thing in retaliation, that perhaps making some kind of association that mosque on Park Hill has anything to do with what happened in Paris. Just off the top, your initial reaction, you've been chief for a while, you've been an officer for decades, you've seen these kind of incidents before, but what was your reaction when this specific incident, you got word of this?
Well, it was a shock. It's always a hurt on a community. You always think of the most vulnerable people and identified people, or any ethnic community or faith community that could be victimized on the basis of simply being who you are and practicing a faith or religion. And our Charter of Rights protects every Canadian citizen from that kind of environment. And for it to happen in a peaceful community like Peterborough, it's disconcerting. We've had attacks on the synagogue before in terms of mischief and anti-Semitic graffiti, but this is the first time that we can think of a situation where we've had somebody try to burn down a faith center.